Welcome everyone to join the conversation. Today I've got a special guest. We've got Patience Ntuli, who comes from Coach Powerhouse, and there's a beauty is that she is also an chartered accountant. So today is going to be a dual session where we're going to learn a lot from her. So if you are joining us and this is someone who didn't listen, who joined later, just say you it's a repost as well. So so just write that. And to those who have joined us, say hi. We need to welcome our guest so she doesn't feel out. So we're streaming live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So wherever you are, we'll be able to see your comments and do engage with us as well. So with that being said, let me introduce myself. I'm 𝗝cie_𝗶𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃. I'm an internationally accredited Master Life Transformation Coach. I'm also an NLP practitioner. And then I'm a metallurgical engineer with over 20 years mining experience as well. And there are so many things that I do as well. Part of it is doing join the conversation. So if you're someone and you're someone who's listening to this, you want to be part of it, so send me a message. We still have got slots to accommodate you. So with that being said, let's clap hands for our guest who volunteered to be here. So welcome, Coach. Tell us who you are and what do you do?
Thank you, Coach Mashudu, for welcoming me. Like you, I have so many caps that I wear. I will try to fit them in the little time that we have, just to indicate who I am. First of all, well, I'm God's favorite child. The rest of you can go argue with God. I'm not entering that stage. But when I'm with Him, it's me and Him. The rest of you, we don't know. So, and secondly, I'm just a village girl who is trying on a daily basis just to enjoy what the Word of God says, not according to the world standards, but just to understand it for myself, so that in everything that I do, then I know that there's a basic. Like I went to school, I'm a chartered accountant, so there are principles in accounting. For every debit, there's a credit. And the accountants here, they know cash flow never balances, but at the end of the day, we submit the financials and then I come on the other side as a registered auditor and come and I want to audit the same cash flow that I know that is not balancing. But that's on the academic level of it. But then I moved away from the numbers. Well, you can never move away from the numbers, but now I'm a life coach, which means I took everything that I've learned because I come from a community of love. I was raised by so many mothers, I can't even count them. So when they say literally it takes a village to raise a person, I have seen that because I was raised by every woman who is at Mashamba at this point. Because when I go home, all of them are happy to see me, and I'm happy to see them because from the young age, there's a role that they played. When I went to varsity, I got new mothers. When I got to Nelspruit, I got new mothers. So everywhere, I have a community that of mothers that are always praying for me. So that is why I say in everything that I do, my founding principles is because I'm God's favorite child. So even when I'm dating and I'm crediting, or when I'm doing my life coaching session, because when I'm a life coach who's focusing on assisting people to live abundantly according to what the Word of God says, not according to what the world standard says wealth is, but according to what God says. If God says a lot of peace is abundance, that's what we're gonna find and help you to find when you come to my coaching session. So basically, that's who I am in a nutshell.
So we are clocking it. So welcome. So yes, we've got Vukosi. Welcome. Check your friends. We need to be here. I'm so excited with your introduction and thank you so much. And to
Yes.
those who are listening, I some people will be confused. How does she move to coaching? And you're still gonna see a lot other coaches as well who have moved from the mainstream like myself. So do look out for those future discussions. So coming back to you, Coach Patience, how do you manage accounting and coaching? As much as you say you coach people based on to be live abundantly, based on the word of God, how do you merge those two? For someone who just maybe they're in their third year or fourth year, they are doing their accounting and they want to be a chartered accountant. I know you still have got that skill. That's why you're a chartered accountant. What can you say? And then later we'll go to coaching.
Okay, so you see, with accounting, the beauty of accounting is it talks about the balance. So in whatever you do, you have to find the center. So in accounting, we say you have your assets, you have your liabilities. At the end of the day, you must have your equity, which is the net of your assets and your liabilities. That's why we say we have a balance sheet. So even in life, you have your balance sheet. What is your core? What is your support? So how I match the two is whatever I do in the circles that I find myself, I try to find what is at the core of what we are doing. So when I show up as a sister, what is at the core of our sisterhood? What is our assets at that point? Are we working towards increasing our equity, which is our relationship, so that it can get stronger? Are we working on reducing our liabilities, the things that we don't want? Or which assets are we looking at acquiring? So that's how then I apply my skills of saying, I know the numbers. And I can tell you, if we sit here and it's a circle of 3 people, those numbers, it's an odd number, but there's a beauty in it. Everybody brings something. There is never going to be a person who brings 100% to the table. That expectation must just die. And so I said in the beginning, all of us who went to school, we knew we were going to sit and write the accounting exam and the cash flow never balanced. In real life, even now, those who are doing the numbers, they can tell you if you ask them off camera, is the cash flow balanced? So with that experience, it teaches me that there is never going to be something that is perfect. In a friendship, we're always going to fight. That's the cash flow not balancing. Today we are happy, we're good. Tomorrow we're going to fight. Does it mean that the friendship has ended? No. Does it mean that something has changed? No. It's just we are at a point where we must find the 2 rand to balance the cash flow. And that helps when now I do the coaching is how do we find the 2 rand? Where did we miss it? How do we bring the balance and align all of that? So there's never a point where anybody can go and say, I'm not doing accounting. Because when you're driving, those who are still driving the manual, you know, the clutch and the what must balance. Even when you're on automatic, you can just relax because there comes a point where you must brake. That's a balance. So even if your car is at neutral, but then at the same time, you can't just say, I know I'm going to leave it at neutral and don't look at it. You do. That's why the cars will communicate to you to say, now look at something. So that's how I match the two to say, everything I do, there is a foundation and there is a core.
Thank you so much for Accounting 101, which relates to life, how you drive a car. So if you've got kids who are struggling with accounting and they cannot make it, they cannot understand, today we've got another metaphor of how you can understand accounting. I just love how you narrated it. I remember back then in year 2000, I enrolled for BCom in psychology, and I struggled with accounting and I dropped off, but I was able to do accounting when I did my PhD with GIBS. And I think I should have met you then in 2000.
Exactly. We would have counted with stones from the village. These are our assets, these are our liabilities. You see, it would have been easier, but now you got it. So there is never too late. Everything that we get, it works out somewhere in our lifetime.
Yes, thank you so much. So it's never too late. So do check your friends who you believe needs to be part of this discussion, because I love how coach blends life and accounting, and also a bit of coaching. So let's go to a bit of coaching. What made you do coaching?
Well, for me, the formal part of it, I've been a mentor, I've been a coach all my life in an informal environment because my passion is in people development. So in every space that I found myself, even when I was still doing audit, the funny part is I became a people's champion, which is me dealing with the people side of things besides the accounting. So I had to put myself aside and say, when people say we have deadlines, I had to like put my deadlines aside and say, how do we help you to get through the deadlines? That did not mean that my deadline has to move, but because that has been my calling, that has been my passion, I mentored people throughout. So that's what made me then to just get the formal qualification to say, I've been doing this on the side and I'm still going to continue doing it. The fact that I have a paper that says I'm a life coach does not mean that every time I talk to people I will be charging them. It simply means that I can be verified. If somebody wants to check to say you're a life coach, everybody calls themselves a life coach, where are your papers? I can produce the papers to say what I'm doing. As I said in the beginning, everything has the backing. For me, that paper was to say, this is the center that holds what you do. Should anybody wants to verify that, did you go to school for this, or is just the experience? So I had the experience first, then I got the paper to support the experience, because if you feel you're Z83, they say a number of years of experience and the qualifications, so they go together. So that's how I was just blending everything. And for me, it was just repackaging to say, when I move from accounting, nobody can doubt my papers, because they can go to 𝗖cie website and verify. They can go to 𝗝ṛ𝗲 website and verify that I am a registered auditor. But when it comes to life coaching, where do they go and verify me if I did not go to school? And also, for me, it was that thing of saying, yes, I can mentor you. Yes, whatever I'm doing, some may call it coaching. But then how do I differentiate? Because I also needed to sit under somebody who's going to coach me to say, there are things that I wouldn't know, because then I'm going with my own understanding. But going to school then helped me to understand, to say, no, it's a professional environment that we're entering into. There are code of ethics. The one for accountants don't work on the side of the coaching life. There are liabilities, personal liabilities that I have to take, because this is a business that I'm running. I'm no longer employed as an accountant, but now I'm running. So people are trusting me with their lives. People are trusting me with information. I have to learn, how do I keep their information? The POPI Act is out there. Should somebody come to my practice and then later on they say, no, but this information I only discussed with you, why is it in the papers? How am I going to safeguard myself? So that is part of the process of the things that I had to learn when I'm coming a life coach, to say, I'm moving away where I was sort of protected because I was an employee. I do not have to worry about a security of information. I do not have to worry about a whole lot of things, because there were divisions dealing with that. Now I'm my own business person. All of those things, they're looking at me. And if I did not go to school to understand that this is a business, these are the risks that comes with a business, how do we mitigate it? And to learn, how do you detach professionally, so that people don't think, no, now you are cold, no, you need to explain to people to say, no, when you come to my session for that hour, you are not my friend. For that hour, you're not my relative. Whatever we discuss there, it stays there, so that people are comfortable to say, how do you make somebody comfortable to transition? To say, no, but I've known you, you've mentored me, and you're like, no, now we are transitioning. Now we are no longer on a casual level. Now I'm sending you an invoice, pay it before you can see me. So that's why then I had to go, so that all of those things I can learn, then I can come and put them into practice later on.
Wow, that was a mouthful. Thank you so much for sharing. I trust you're listening. So when she coaches, she doesn't know you, even if you can be family or a friend, because she has to abide by the code of ethics, which we abide to as well. And that is very important. So, still on coaching, what are the common things that you are finding in your practice that you just want to highlight and create an education to those who are still scared of saying, I need to go to a coach? They don't trust, because it's still something which is booming in South Africa. I know in America, the UK, coaching is the normal way of life, but here we still, some people are still skeptical and they're so scared to share how they're feeling, what they're going through, even just moving from point A to point B, because that is what coaching helps you to move from point A to point E.
I think what the major thing to deal with is the stigma that you're talking about. To say, why should I actually pay you? What is it that you're going to do for me? The second part is the blurry lines between what a coach does, what a psychologist does, what a therapist does. And the people still don't understand that when you come to me, I'm a life coach for a reason. It means I'm not limited to only one section of your life. If you want to come to me and talk about work, it's part of your life. We can talk about work. At the end of the day, because I'm a trained coach, I'll be able to unearth the things that might be psychological that is affecting your work. I will not be talking to the psychological part of it. I will refer you to a psychologist to say, these are the reason why you're saying your work environment is toxic, for instance. Go deal with these matters with a professional who might be a therapist, who might be a psychologist, so that when you have dealt with that part, it's still part of your life. I will continue to coach you on how to cope in your work environment. But when it comes to psychological things, there's a psychologist to help you deal with it together. The exercises that we're going to give you, they're going to talk to you as a whole person. And also we look at how are your relationships, because there is this thing that people still believe that I live in isolation. It's me when I go to work, I'm an employee. So I assist people to say, categorize yourself. I am Patience. I am the last born at home, but I'm a mother. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I run my own business. I sit in audit committees. Who do I show up as in all those different hats that I occupy? Can I separate that today me and my brother had a fight? That's a family matter. When I go sit in that boardroom, we have to make a decision. Should we suspend this employee? If I haven't been to coaching, if I haven't been mentored, how do I separate the two? I will still be carrying my anger into that boardroom. My decisions will still be influenced by the emotions from the previous discussion that was held. So for me, the things that I am assisting the people that I interact with is to say, be able to separate yourself, create that emotional resistance of saying, I might storm out of the boardroom because what we are discussing is not aligned. But when I get home as a wife, do I offload on my spouse who has nothing to do with my venting at work? When I get home and they are celebrating and me, I'm still angry. Am I intelligent enough emotionally to detach and say, now I am walking into my home as a wife? I do not have an issue with my partner in the morning. We do not fight throughout the day. My kids has nothing to do with what was happening at work. They're expecting a parent who is happy, who's coming to cook for them, who's coming to play games with them, your problems. So those are some of the things that in my spaces that I am in, I assist people to say, let's learn, because that's your life. That's what I said. As a life coach, then you deal with it. Sometimes, you see, back then, probably 10 to 15 years ago, there was that stigma that as women, because we're getting power, then we wanted to become men. We couldn't separate that I'm a CEO at work. And then when I get home, I need to submit to the husband that God has given me. All of that is because we did not have coaching. We were given powers, but there was no coach to say, hey, separate yourself, put yourself in the small boxes so that you can take yourself out when you have to take out. So those are some of the work that I do to sort of educate people to say, even when you go to church, when I go to church, I'm not a chartered accountant. Believe me, most of the people at my chamber don't even know what I do, the power that I have when I walk into the boardroom. They see the little girl that they raised. So also I teach people to say, remain humble. because life change, it can change overnight. The people that help you to get there, respect them, because that's part of life coaching. Because people, when they move up the ranks, the power that is coming without a core source, we see it. There is arrogance in it. There is disrespect that comes with it. There is that I know it all. But the power and authority that you have that is centered on something that is strong, it is there to help you pull others. So all of those in the work that I do, then I assist the people. And I also assist people to say, extend grace. You see, these days we are quick to cut off. Like, hey, Coach Mashudu said 1, 2, 3, good luck, bye, I'm out. So we're learning to extend grace to say, hey, if we look at our story, when we started, the accountants in the room, they will get the joke. You see, you get there, they say, go verify the completeness of land. Coming from the village, what is completeness of land? Because there's only one way. I see the land when I wake up. But you needed somebody to help your hand and say, no, you can't do that. This is how you verify certain things. So throughout our lives, nobody sits and say, I've made it. We all need to have that coach, that voice that talks to us and say, now you're going off course. Even if it's not in a formalized structure, but have that voice that will talk to you and assist you to know that this is where we are. So that's what I'm doing, and trying to simplify the thing that going to a life coach does not mean you are weak, does not mean you don't know what you're doing. It's actually a power statement. When you go to a life coach or any coach, whether it's a business coach, funny enough, people will go to a business coach, but they wouldn't want to come to a life coach. How are you a business person and you don't have a life that you need to manage at the same time? So it's making sure the education reaches everyone, and we make sure that we extend as much as we can, because we want to have as many Black people coming to the coaching session, not for us to make the money, but to have resilient, intelligent Black people that have the power that is centered on something.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And every Wednesday also, I've got my business coach. I know when I leave that session, I've got a long to-do list.
Yes.
So
your business.
For my business, because people see Mashudu doing this and they don't know there's a support team, because you cannot run this world without a support team. And you didn't come here alone. There were 2 parents who made you. Remember that?
Exactly. And the thing is, you see, the funny part is nobody wants to understand the process. We see you posting every day, and I'm like, I also want to get to that point where I'm like, Coach Mashudu, but I don't understand. There's actually a big team behind you that is doing all of those things. And that's why then, when you have that voice that is talking to you, that is assisting to say, hey, let go of this, let go of that, allow people, because majority of us, we struggle from asking for help. And that's because that's how we grew up. And that's a job of a coach to say, hey, why are you doing all of this thing? Is it out of love or is it out of duty? Because if nobody makes you to pause and actually look at, Mara, why am I spending 2 hours cooking while I could have hired someone? Here I am working and I have money. I can literally afford someone who can come and do the cooking so that I come home, I can spend time with my children and I'm not irritated. I can spend time with my friends. I am not grumpy. When the phone rings, I'm not thinking, who should I answer or not? So those are the small things that we don't see because it has been part of our DNA. We grew up saying, I need to be strong. If you were to go into an event and you just sit and watch, I can literally tell you who's the firstborn, who's not, by the things that they do without saying a word, to say, here we have firstborn tendencies, here we have too much help tendencies, here we have, and that is the beauty of the work that I do. That's why I said I've been doing it. And then I'm able to see. So by the time if the person end up coming to me, I don't even focus on what they're telling me because I know that what they're telling me is 2% of the story. My focus is, who are you outside of the titles? Were you always chasing the corner office? Why were you chasing? The problem is not you chasing the corner office. The problem is the why. If you're chasing it to prove a point, that's why you are burnout. Relax. You got the corner office. Attend to your burnout because you're not performing effectively on that corner office because you're burnout. And you're going to leave that environment and say it's toxic. You're going to chase another corner office. That corner office will be more toxic because you're higher up. The expectations is very higher. So pause. Let's deal with the why. And once we can deal with the why, it doesn't matter which position, because now you understand power is not in a position. Power in influence is in understanding who you are. If you go to companies, the people who have power, it's actually the PA to the boss. That's the person who can say yes or no. It's not the boss. We don't get to see the CEO because the PA said no. And the CEO never knows that we're trying to get to the CEO because the person with the power said no. So we assist you in your career move to say, stop chasing the CEO. Be a friend to a PA. You're going to get an appointment by next week. And people are going to be wondering how. That's the power of coaching, to say your life in totality, we help you.
You heard her. You need to network with the PA, whatever you're doing, whether it's your business, whether you want to send a proposal, so it's important. With that being said, Coach, what is the main message you want to share to everyone who's listening? Could be someone who's in high school, or someone who's about to graduate, or someone who started a business, or a mom, or someone who's about to get married, or someone in a toxic relationship. What is the message?
Someone in something at this point is just, we're just talking to someone who is in something at this point. The first thing is, how did we get there? And I'm asking this in the simplest form to say, if I'm in grade 7, which is in our time, it was standard 5. You say I always must convert back to my age. To say, if I'm in grade 7, how did I get to grade 7? Was I studying, or it was a natural transition because they had to push me? I was getting the bare minimum. What work was I putting in to get to grade 7? Because that's the work that will create my foundation when I go to high school. And you get to a person who is sitting in matric and you ask them, how did we get here? They're not going to be able to answer that because for them, it's been a natural issue. Only a person who's been intentional. How do we see intentionality? We see the intentionality in how we carry ourselves. Somebody who's been intentional to say, when I get to grade 12, these are my results. From grade 10, that person will get the results. So that they practice getting the results from grade 10. So if we are able to answer that first question, how did we get here? The second question is, how comfortable am I with being here? Is my here my plan, or is my here by default? And default in a way of saying, if I've never sat down as a mother and say, how did I manage to mother a teenager up to this point? When things start falling apart, I will blame everyone else except me, because there was never a point where I said, was I present enough? Was I paying attention enough? That's the answer to the first question, to say, how did I get there? And now, am I comfortable where I'm at? When people are complaining about teenagers, we need to take a step back. We were once teenagers. We just did not have the social media, but we had the letters. We had the bullying that was happening via the things that were written in toilets and everything else. What is different? The teenagers that we are raising, the teenagers that are our siblings, they're still going through bullying. It has just changed packaging. So hence I'm saying my second question is, how am I feeling where I'm at? Then the next question is, once you've answered the two, you can already start saying whether I'm comfortable, whether I should be calling Coach Mashudu at this point for a session or no. And the third question is, where am I going? So I'm in grade 7. I got here by natural pass. Next year, am I comfortable that I'm going to pass grade 7? Chances are I will pass grade 7 because I've been getting the 50s and the 60s without studying. But now I'm going to high school. What kind of person is needed for the high school? Will the same Patience who was playing around be okay for high school? Because high school comes with its own bullying, comes with its own challenge. You're in a new environment. That time you want to go to boarding school. That time you're a parent who wants to relocate from South Africa because there are better opportunities. Where are we going? The people that depend on us, how are we communicating with them regarding where we are going? Because it's not only me. I'm a child at home. When I decide to move, decide to relocate, decide to leave that relationship, where am I going? Because I need the people. If I don't communicate where I'm going, people are just going to see me posting a passport situation right now. And then I get to Canada, I'm by myself. I only got the job. So if I don't communicate where I'm going, I don't even have a plan myself. When I get there, what's the support that will be required? So that point of saying, where am I going? It will trigger the point of saying, what is the support that I need? And for me, the message I want to say is, know the season that you are in. Understand the season that you are in. So that you're able to say, guys, in winter, we all wear jackets. Whether you're at 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 where it's always some 30 degrees, or you are in Cape Town where there's 4 weathers in a day, you have a jacket in your house. The difference is how often you're going to use it. But we all know in South Africa now it's winter. Nobody can argue that it's not winter. So it's important to know our season. Knowing our season will help us to answer those questions, because if I'm in summer we all know all is well. The flowers are blooming, it's hot, we don't need the jacket, less clothes, less laundry, like life is moving. What is the kind of support that I need in that season? Because I think what I note is we sort of expect a lot from people, and I'll explain it in this way. In summer, all I need is a summer dress. If I'm going on vacation in summer, a small suitcase is enough to carry my swimwear and my summer dress. In winter, that bag that is enough for my week in summer, it's actually only enough for 2 days in winter. So I can't expect Coach Mashudu to be my all-in-one. If she came to my life to be my summer person, hi man, when the summer is moving, now we're getting to autumn, I need to understand that Coach Mashudu will disappear into the background. She will not be in the forefront. And I think that's where we get hurt the most. I'm expecting you to carry me in all my seasons. But I don't have the discernment because I did not go back to God and say, why is she in my life? Because I met you at a party, for instance, we're grooving. You are my groove buddy. You are not my friend. You're the person I call when I want to go grooving. I have my prayer warriors that when things go left, they know if they get a text that say, pray now. We don't even ask for what, why. It's time to pray. Those are my winter people. Because when it gets rough, you go to your winter people. Then there's your autumn and your spring. So for me, the message is understand your season. And understanding your season will require you to understand who you are outside of what everybody is saying, outside of all the caps that we give to each other. When everything else is taken away, who are you? Which season are you in? What kind of support do you actually need? So that we're able to recognize it. You see the difference between the firstborns and the lastborns. Where you guys still need to do a lot of healing. We don't need to do any healing as last borns. We just need to repent for for our sins, for always being the spoiled brats. But it's because you guys have spoiled us. So now you can expect me to take accountability where all the time you've been like, no, 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 don't touch that. No, no, don't do that. Now you want me to do it. How? Because I don't know. So it's all understanding. But as a last born, who have come to understand that no, that was a season for me to be a last born. Now I'm a mother. Now I'm an adult. Now I'm a professional. There's no last born when I get to the boardroom. They're not employing a last born. They're employing a chartered accountant. They're employing a registered auditor. They're employing a life coach. When I get to my Shamba village, in my mother's yard, she doesn't care. I am the last born. She will call me the child that I am. So I came to understand the season and what it means and the support that I need in each and every season, so that when people are not showing up the way I expect, is because they are not my spring people. They are my autumn people. In autumn, they will bloom and they will come and show up.
Wow, that's a mouthful. Thank you. There's some comments that came through. 𝗖cie_HES says, Coach P, you wear so many hats and walk in so many different shoes each day. Leader, mom, mentor, coach, and so much more. With all these roles and responsibilities, how do you intentionally reset?
That question, I know a person who can answer it, but I will steal from Coach Caesar's way. I think we always laugh about it. You see, if there's one thing I do, I sleep. Everyone in my circle, they know it. Sunday, no phone calls, no nothing, unless it's an emergency. Even in an emergency, they will send a text first, should we call? Because I've made it a norm. Sunday is my rest day. I go to church, I come back, which means from 12 o'clock, you're not getting hold of me until 6 o'clock. I am resting so that I can be ready for the week. Sunday evening is my time to plan for the week. I'm not carrying anything from the old week to the new week. And I've been a planner all my life. Like I'm that person who knows that in December how many things I'm gonna be doing. That helps me that I don't stress. I make sure that things that needs to be done, they get done. I communicate and I delegate. I think through the season I've worked in and all the circles I've been in, I can comfortably say the people in my circle, they can actually run everything without me. Because through what we've been through together, we understand each other through the communication. So rest for me is important. Understanding who am I, what makes me to be able to function. So I'm not a gym person. I don't have that discipline when it comes to wellness of my life. But I know that when I have the time, I'll either walk my 2-3 kilometers. I will go to the gym now and then. But at the end of it all is understanding who am I and being able to plan ahead to say, in August, it's my mother's birthday. What does she want? July is my month. I do nothing literally. July is that month where I actually rest because nobody asks me for anything. It's a culture. You don't ask me for anything in July. I am here to receive everything you want to give me. So that is my time to rest. And because I'm a planner, I make sure that I plan my rest. My rest does not happen by chance. I have weekends that I've already blocked. If you ask me what I'm doing, I'm not available. That's my answer. What I'm doing that weekend, not everybody is part of all my seasons. So if you don't know, it means you are not meant to be in that. And I can book myself in the cheaper. I have the anointing of getting cheaper getaways with God's help. So because I plan ahead, I know that July is hectic for me. August, then I can rest. It's my mother's birthday, so it means I can plan to go at my shamba and just sit there under the tree. September is very much chilled. October, I run the baby camp, so that is hectic. November becomes hectic. December, everybody is up and down. I do nothing. I don't even go on holiday in December. My holidays come in January when there's no one. Then I can go enjoy the beach by myself. The prices are very low. So already you can see February is a birthday. So already I know my months. I already know the things that I know this I have to do. So if somebody comes and asks me, what am I doing next year, February? There's a 40th birthday I'm attending, so don't book me in February. I'm not available. So you see, that's how then I manage all these different hats that I wear. And that took years of practice. The other time, yesterday I posted that I went to Durban July in the midst of a PFMA audit long time ago because I was like, I planned it. I did not have to be there for a weekend. Nobody died for a weekend. I was gone. The teams were there. We continued. We signed off. It all comes back to your planning and putting yourself first. And not in a selfish way, understanding that everybody, they can't get 100% of you. You deserve your first 10%. Like we do in church to say the 10% of everything belongs to God. Your 10% of your time belongs to you. How you use it, make sure you use it to rest because you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Thank you so much. We need to rest, guys. So you need to go
Yes.
and sleep between 12 p.m. and
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that. When you respond, or like you when you respond to the next question, tell us where is Mashamba village. You have been sharing it. We've got people who don't know. I'm not gonna say where you come from. They need to say it. You need to say it yourself. There's a question from Zibuile. I'm just gonna share it. It says, "Hi, my student coach. What if your season doesn't change? I'm in winter for too much long from 2022. I'm not coping at all now."
Okay. Easy. I'm laughing at the first question. Not to, I'm gonna answer your question. I'm laughing how I must describe where my shamba is to everyone. My shamba is in Limpopo, towards Makado. So when you're driving N1 to Zim, you take N1, you take the 10 to Elim, some village somewhere there. But if you put it on Google, you will find it. You won't get lost. So I am from Limpopo. I am a Tonga person who went to a vendor school who has a Zulu surname. So that's yeah. So when I get to KZN, I'm at home. I get away with a lot of things, and that's how I got to survive Joburg because my surname is Ntuli, and everybody assumes I'm Zulu, and I go with the flow. So that's the part. So back to the question of saying, what if your season doesn't change? You see, I'm one person who believes to say, if you're in a season, there is something that we need to learn. A season doesn't just come and goes. So you need to sit and say, this season, how did I get to this season? As difficult, as painful as it is, you need to sit and say, how did I get here? What was my contribution? Because I think one thing that we don't usually want to do is to say, what is my contribution to the process? So once you sit and say, what is my contribution? Back to those questions that I was saying, Coach Masho, to say, how comfortable am I? How did I get here? Where am I going? Yes, the winter is here. What is the winter teaching you? Going back, as I said in the beginning, I am God's favorite child. So the scripture says the Israelites, because of their own doing, God allowed them to sit in captivity. They went to Babylon for 70 years, and we all know that scripture that says, I know the plans I have for you, but that says after 70 years of you being in Babylon, I know what I have planned for you. So the winter season that you're sitting in, check what are the lessons that you need to learn. check to say, since I've been here, what is my heart posture in this season? Because the heart posture becomes important. Am I still praising God? Because the Bible says, "Enter His gate." It does not mention which season you are in. It says, "Enter His gate with thanksgiving." Are you still able to give God the thanksgiving? I will leave it there, Coach Mashudo, but I am offering you a session with me so that we don't talk your business in public, but get hold of me. Don't worry, I won't charge you just to get you out of your winter season, to get you to spring. In December, we should be celebrating your summer. But you must come ready because we're gonna unpack everything and everything. So I might just take you back to things you don't want to go to, but come ready. We will get to summer, don't worry.
Thank you so much, 𝗲𝗲𝗄𝗏. And as our coach has been saying, you said you need to communicate. And thank you for listening to her advice and communicating your season. And you just won a coaching
Exactly.
session. So
It's a lucky day. She got Lotto. So 𝗲𝗲𝗄𝗏, it's me and you to the summer season.
yes, yes. Thank you so much for offering that and sharing who you are. So as we're about to end, how does one reach out to you? How do they get hold of you?
Okay. So on the social media, it's Coach Powerhouse. That's the formal business on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on Instagram. On my personal page is Patience Ntuli 𝗝cie_HRA on LinkedIn. That's where they can get hold of me. Alternatively, they can use my business number, which is 071 725 5812. So that is 071 725 5812. They can just reach out to me there and then we can take it from there.
Okay, thank you so much. There's another question from Lusanda. She says, how does one get to fully appreciate summer after a long winter season?
Lusanda, what happens when you come back from holiday? What makes you to appreciate your holiday much better is the content. Those 1,000 pictures that you took and never posted. That's what makes you to appreciate the holiday more than when you were there. Because when you were there in winter, we are in the process of rushing. I want to get out of this so that I can get to next season. It goes back to the point of pausing. How did we get out of winter? Were we intentional when we're getting out of winter? Did we know where we were going? Because all of those things, they will make you appreciate the summer. And I think from that question, Coach Mashudo, me and you can already sense the fear that is there to say, how do I know this thing will last? I've just been through the most and now I'm here. So there is a fear that says, should I even celebrate this? How long will this last? So how we get to enjoy and celebrate is understanding that each day that we live, it's an opportunity. So if that day comes with summer, how do we celebrate summer? On spring day, we pour water on people as we are old and all of that. We wear bright colors. We make it known. Make your achievements known. Acknowledge them yourself because it's not about the next person. Are you able to sit down with a cup of coffee, whether tea, green tea, whichever type of tea, with yourself in a quiet space? That's what we call sitting with self. Are you comfortable with sitting with yourself? Look at your cup of coffee and say, in summer, the coffee tastes nice cold. In winter, I wanted it hot. But both can coexist. You can still enjoy the lessons that you learned from winter now that you're in summer. So it also goes back to your heart posture. How do you process things? Are you able to say, these are my lessons that I have learned in winter? Or how you look at winter is like, I don't want to go back there. So it's a lot of layered things that can make a person to be able to appreciate. And that's why sometimes you'll hear people say, no, actually, the people that are in a lesser wealthy environment or the people staying in the shacks are more happy. They are not. That is their reality, and they've made peace that while I'm here, let me make the most of it. So make the most of your summer. Enjoy it. First, acknowledge it for yourself that you are in summer. Don't say, I'm in summer after winter. Say, right now, my season, it's a summer. I need to get my summer dress. I need to get my bright colors. I need to sit with self and enjoy and celebrate every morning. Wake up and like, hello, summer. Let's go. Are we pink? Are we yellow today? Let's go. We are enjoying. That's how you get to celebrate. So that when winter comes again, we all know 2027 winter will be here. But are we stressing now? No. So learn to sit in that summer and acknowledge it for yourself and enjoy it for yourself before you enjoy it for the next person.
Wow, that was so powerful. I think what stood up for me is what is your heart posture? So, guys, that is your homework. What is your heart posture?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Coach. What else? Is there anything that you want to share before we check out today? We have learned so much. And thanks to everyone who's joined in. Tag your friends wherever you're listening to us. And if you still have got questions for us, for our coach, you can also share them. I think another thing that I need to share in terms of us being coaches, we are not perfect. We also have our winters, and we've got support to help us with our winters, because people just see these perfect coaches or this perfect. We are not. We are human like yourself. Always remember that. So, what else would you like to share as we are about to end?
I think before I get there, just to also add to what you are saying, everyone is a human being before any title gets added to them. So guys, when you also come to our coaching session, we're also healing our inner children. So it's a two-way thing. We're also learning along the process because we did not face all your problems, but as you come, we also have to see, hey, does this still trigger me or not? So when you come and we're sitting there and we're not writing, don't think we are not writing because there's nothing. We are dealing with our own demons to say, hey, don't respond from your heads. Don't be professional at this point. So feel free that no, we are human beings, we have all our faults. And then I think the last thing I would want to share is to say, if there's anything, I think for me, find the tribe that talks to you. Create your own happiness. Happiness is not a destination, happiness is a state of mind. I can be sitting here in a lot of pain with a lot of things falling apart, but I can still choose to smile. Because for me personally, I know who holds my life. I know that the God that I serve never promised me that it's going to be easy. He said, consider it joy when you go through trials and tribulation. And I think that's what for me it says I can still smile in the midst of everything else because I know my center is still holding. Will I be crying in the middle of the night? Yes. Will I be venting to him? Non-stop. But tomorrow, if he gives me an assignment, I will definitely do it with a smile because I know he loves me. So I think that helps to understand that what is your source? What's at your core? So let's find that one thing that you know for sure. If everything else is falling apart, who do you run to? We're not creating idols for ourselves, we're not creating anything. But for me, nature helps me. So when people say that question of saying, how do I rest? Believe me, I know all the botanical gardens in this country. So wherever I find myself, whenever the place I find myself in, the first thing I look for is where's the botanical garden, because that's part of me recharging. If I sit there for an hour, I am very revived. I don't need a lot of time. So find the thing that revives you. Find the things that gives you joy. Find that one thing that if you just do it, you know that you are set. Then you can always have something to look forward to. Also, forgive yourself. Yes, we will tell you to forgive yourself. And there's a rationale behind that. We carry a lot of regret, we carry a lot of hurt, we carry a lot of expectations that were never met. Some of them were not even communicated. So every time things go bad, that little voice says, but who do you think you are? Because when you were 6, you could not even pass maths. When you were 15, they dumped you for somebody better than you. So when you think you are better now, so you forgive yourself, Dr. And that one that dumped me at 15 could not handle me at that point. So we are not even going there when I start telling you, stop it with your nonsense. So forgiving yourself, it's sitting down with yourself and saying, what are the things that I'm embarrassed to talk about? What are the things that I'm embarrassed to acknowledge in public? Because that's what holds us back. To say, if this was to come out, what am I going to say to people? Will people still look at me? So when you forgive yourself, you say it first and you say, I own this. You see, there's nobody who's gonna come and tell me it and say my spongo is big because I'm the first one to say I have a bigger one. Make peace with it. God made me with it. So you can't come back and use it against me to say, hi, when I know, let's move right along. What else? Because I can't change it. It's part of who I am. God saw it fit to give it to me that big, which means it needed to store a whole lot of knowledge in it. So own those things that is people might consider it to be embarrassing, because once you own it, nobody can use it against it. Yes, we've made faults as mothers, we have made faults as friends. Acknowledge, make peace, forgive yourself. So that's the last thing I would say, to say forgive yourself so that you're able to own up and you're able to live beyond, and you're not judging the next person based on what you went through, based on the hurt that you haven't forgiven yourself for.
That's our coach. No wonder she's called Coach Powerhouse. She showed us, she delivered. I trust you have changed. You're not the same person who joined here. And if you're not the same person, check people who need to hear this. I believe you're in a class of your own where you didn't know what was going to happen. I'm also, as I'm saying, I'm getting goosebumps. That is how powerful the session was today. And she told us she's into in people development, and today she developed all of us on how she narrated the seasons of life, how she responded. And thank you to everyone who has joined in. I'm so grateful. So my vision is lightening up, and what a wonderful way to start Monday. And thank you so much, Coach. Yeah. Yes, I've learned so much. I still have got goosebumps even now. Thank you.
Thank you for making my month. July is my birthday month. Yeah. I got my birthday present early, guys. Keep them coming.
Thank you. And just to follow up, tomorrow we've got another session, 7th and the 8th. Do join us and hear from other powerful coaches. And if there are slots which are not filled up, I'm going to bring back our coach, our powerhouse, if she's available, because I believe we need to have these undocumented conversations to start changing the way we view life. And I like the metaphors that she has used. She has used so many. If you didn't learn from any of those, I give up. Also share this with the teenagers. Teenagers are going through the most, and those who are doing accounting. Accounting, it applies to everyone, to those who are not doing it, because if you run a business, you need to know how to read your management
Your
accounts,
financials.
everything. So you cannot run away from it. So what a better way to introduce them, because the way it was articulated, it makes someone buy into it because it doesn't use those technical terms. And she made sure that she explains for a someone who's a two grader. So if you are selling something and you realize your clients are not getting it, take that content, make sure it can be read by a fifth grader, because people, there's a short attention span. So if you make it simple, relatable, you're gonna sell, you're gonna prosper as well. Yeah. Well, let me check before we go. Oh, everyone's saying thank you, thank you, thank you. As well on Facebook, if you're on Facebook, do share. On LinkedIn as well, it was, we were live there, so do share and tag other women, because we need to have these conversations. And yeah, we will change because we learn every day. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you, Coach Mashudu, and don't worry. Anybody struggling with accounting, you can send them my way. You know, as coaches, we also always have pro bono, and for me, it's about the community development. If I can help somebody understand the basic of a debit and a credit and balancing that equation, we have a better chance in South Africa of having the people that can balance the economy of this country. Because it's not only for now, but it's for the future, to say the people that are going to occupy, the people who are going to run businesses in future, at the basics there. And also they can apply the principle. As you said, I make it simple, that is a daily thing. They can apply the principle in their daily lives. It doesn't matter where they are. They always come back to say, the things that we're doing, are they balancing or not? So don't worry, send them my way. I'm here to educate the people so that we can all get better.
Wow, thank you so much. And if you want to be part of this conversation, you can comment wherever you are listening to, or you can send me a message to 060-508-6165. We still have got slots as well. And also, she spoke about the firstborn. I was a bit triggered when she mentioned this firstborn. So on the 15th of July, I ran the Audacious and Align class. So the session is about the perfection is over. It's high time you take your power. So if you want to be part of that, send me a message. I'll send you more information. Because we have to help you. You need to tap to your greatness. You haven't reached it. I believe even the day you lose your breath, you wouldn't have reached your greatness. But what is a better way of stepping into it step by step? Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. And thank you for listening to us. Cheers to creating more people in the future who are balanced.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.